Last night when I was doing Lyft and I was leaving to go home, when I got to like around the Woodbridge area, one of my friends who was driving Lyft called me to let me know that the plane and the helicopter had just crashed into each other by the Potomac River, by the airport. And I was shocked because I was like, how? Like, was the plane landing or taking off? He was like hitting off. He just saw like two things clashed together. I was like, wow. And I thought about coming back, but I was like, I got like an hour drive at home, so I was like, I'm not going to deal with the traffic for 2 hours. So when the rescue operations were here, like as you see it right now, it was similar to this. It wasn't like sworn with a lot of police or whatever. I seen more police at a traffic stop or like at a car accident than I saw here today. So it's like, but it was really a tragedy what happened. It's just really, really a tragedy. All I can say to the family members is my condolence to them, and hopefully, they grieve and move past this. We all lose somebody before in our life, and I know how it feels to lose somebody, and I lost somebody before. My condolence to them. I know this is one of the worst tragedies to ever happen in D.C. area or Arlington in general. So it's really sad to see that this happen. So I'm praying for the community.
I have a family of 3 sons and my husband. We listen to a lot of live air traffic controllers and track flights all the time. And last night I was listening and heard everything happening. It was pretty devastating. We were going to come out last night, but it was a little late, so I decided to come today. We usually come at least once a month from Potomac and watch the flights land and track them and listen to the controllers. And I don't know, so it felt very personal because I listen constantly. And so we heard it happen, and immediately it was pretty heartbreaking because just hearing their voices, and you could tell they were it was frightening. But
describe to us what you heard last night.
Well, there was 3, the tower, the controller that does with landings, the approach said, you could tell that he was talking to the Black Hawk, and he told the Black Hawk, do you have eyes on the, it's called visual separation, which usually means the flights, make sure they maneuver around the plane landing. And the CRJ, the American Airlines flight from Kansas, got approval to land. And it sounded like, and again, I'm not like an expert or anything, but it sounded like the Black Hawk had track on the wrong plane, possibly the one taking off at the same time and not the one landing, and hit the plane landing. Again, I don't know, but it sounded like it may have been a mistake on the behalf of the military training flight and not necessarily the controllers or American Airlines. So, and you could hear the voice of the controller. Not really, I think it was shock for a minute. And there was a woman controller that also was called it in as a hit. They usually don't break their emotions, and last night they did. And you could tell it was pretty serious immediately. And then my husband and I turned on the news, and we saw everything unfolding, and realized it was a lot bigger than it appeared to be initially. But so for me, it was all audio. I just was listening, and you could just tell. It was really sad. Even the flight, the pilot from the American Airlines, his voice, I don't know, it just really stopped us in our tracks. I was kind of in shock, to be honest with you. I've never seen it happen, or not seen, but heard it happen real time. But I know there was another close call in May on the ground. 2 flights almost collided, and that wasn't as serious as this. So.
Now, you're somebody who tracks, aircraft.
I do.
Considering you live so close by.
I do, yeah.
You may not be an expert, but do you think that the airspace in D.C. area is crowded?
Oh, that's a good question. Again, not an expert. Dulles, no. BWI, no. DCA is a tricky airport. It seems, again, layman, I don't want anyone to think that I know it, but there's a lot of helicopter traffic. Probably like New York has a lot too, but this one is sometimes there's also military and they don't have a transponder. They don't show up because I live in Potomac, like I was saying, and the flights go overhead. And there's numerous times where we'll get we'll get like helicopters, planes that aren't trackable. They're not showing up on my app. So I know that they have record of it, but it is very busy. On top of it, visually seeing how busy it is, it's also can be very busy where they're not even trackable. Does that make sense? So I would say this airport is very unique in a lot of ways, also because there's a district not flyover from 9/11 where you can't go below, I think it's 15,000 feet. So you have to go around the district. So it's a very specific landing, takeoff, often happens from the same runway. It's busy. It is a busy, and they can't add much more. So I have a feeling based on what happened last night, I was saying to somebody else over here that they're going to get stricter about like having the ability to go Gravelly Point. I feel like it's like it might not be around much longer. I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried that they're going to become more and more strict about flights coming in and out, because 2 mistakes in 1 year, it's pretty scary. But yes, I would say this airport in particular is quite busy.